It's time, and I'm waiting for a call from Michael Sweet from Stryper. Hello, Michael?
Mr. Keel, sorry I'm a few minutes late, man.
Hey, you are right on time, man. I know they've got you scrambling during this media cycle, so I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. I had to just tell the guy in the last interview, I said, I got to go. I always feel rude doing that, but you got to do it.
I know what that's like, and I know our time is short, so I'll make the most of it. Quickly, a couple of disclaimers. The time difference, this will broadcast next week after the album already comes out, so we'll talk about that in past tense.
Okay.
The podcast disclaimer, I edit the radio interviews down to 13 minutes and record the entire conversation for the podcast version. I'm guessing we have 20, 25 minutes maybe?
Yeah, that's great.
Fantastic. Perfect. And a couple of liners. You can cut these at home and send them to me or do them on the phone right now if you want. One for the show, one for the station. What do you want to do?
We can do them right now, man. No worries.
Cool. All right. This is Michael Sweet from Stryper, and I'm on the streets of rock and roll with Ron Keel.
Okay, here goes the first one, and say when.
I'm ready.
Hey, everybody, this is Michael Sweet of Stryper, and I am on the streets of rock and roll with Ron Keel.
Perfect. And one for the station. You're listening to KRFK Radio. Live the rock.
KRFK Radio, Live the Rock. Okay. Hey, everybody, this is Michael Sweet of Stryper, and you are listening to KRFK, Live the Rock.
And what song do you want me to lead in with, man? There's so many great tunes on this new record. I love them all. So which song do you want to pick to lead into this with?
You know what? Let's do something different. Why not? There's a song called Heart and Soul.
You got it.
Let's just be different. That's one of my faves, and it's got a cool groove to it. Let's do that one.
I agree. Let's do it. That is Heart and Soul from Stryper's brand new release, The Final Battle, available now everywhere. Their 14th album and their 6th for Frontiers Records. And we're going to talk about that and a lot more with the man behind that voice and that music as we welcome Michael Sweet to the streets of rock and roll. Hello, Michael. Thanks for doing this.
What's going on, Mr. Keel? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. We're on the suite of rock and roll this week. I know this is a very busy time for you. You're in the middle of the media cycle promoting the new album, and I appreciate you putting me on the press list.
Oh, man. Gosh, I put you on the press list every time. I don't know why you're not on the press list every time. We got to make that happen, but thank you for taking the time to talk to me and want to talk to me. That's just always humbling and mind-blowing for me.
My pleasure, man. And you have been on the show a couple of times with our tribute to Michael Wagner and once on the Monsters of Rock cruise. But, man, we've all been through a lot the last few years. And Stryper has fought through your own unique set of battles and challenges. The pandemic, our beloved brother Oz Fox fighting for his life against the brain tumors. You've dealt with a detached retina in your right eye as well as limited mobility. It's got to feel good to come back strong with this amazing new collection of songs.
It really does. And, when you go through, health issues like that, and as a band, me personally, I was thinking, how are we going to get through this? Are we going to get through it? I was even considering postponing and delaying and or canceling the album, because it was a tough time. It really was, especially at that time, right when I was supposed to write the album and we were supposed to record the album. I was going through the surgeries with the eye and I was laying face down. So it just felt like, okay, this is impossible. It's just not going to happen. But I didn't change the schedule, and God worked everything out, and we were able to go and do our thing. And not only do our thing, but I think because of those hurdles we had to face and jump and get over, I think that it made for a better album because we worked harder at our craft. And I think it shows in the way the album came to be and how it sounds. And I'm very, very pleased with how it turned out.
I agree, man. There's a fire, a determination, a confidence to every track, every song. And we're all concerned, of course. How is Oz? Is he out of the woods? And where are you with your personal recovery from that detached retina?
Well, I just had my checkup yesterday, so I'm good right now, but I just got to be really careful. That's why I don't move on stage as much, because my situation with my eye is that if I jump around too much, it can very easily detach again. Oz is doing really good. I mean, from what I see and what I'm experiencing with him, traveling with him and on stage and recording and everything, it seems like the same old Oz, like miraculously he got through those surgeries, and it was, that small percentage that it really didn't have an effect on him. I know medication he takes has an effect on him, but other than that, he's doing great.
That's fantastic news for all of us. The new album is called The Final Battle, even though there's not a song on the record with that title. Explain the meaning behind calling it that, and please confirm for all of us right now, it's not your final album.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think it is. In the back corners of my mind, I thought, well, certainly there's a chance it could be, because I look at it as tomorrow's never promised for any of us. We don't know what tomorrow may bring or may not bring. And, so could it be? Certainly it could be, but there are no plans for it to be. The imagery and the thought behind that title was more so based on the Battle of Armageddon. If you read the book of Revelation, it describes that. And that's what that imagery portrays on the cover. That's supposed to be God, Christ coming back, and then the four horsemen, which is kind of representing us, the guys in the band with the hair color and, the bodies in terms of the muscular intensity is exactly how we look with our shirts off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. One of my favorite.
Not even close.
One of my favorite topics when I interview my favorite singers is the voice, and the vocals on this new record may be some of your strongest and most extreme ever after all these years, and there's never been any doubt or debate that Michael Sweet has, quote, still got it, unquote. And I know there's a lot of talent involved, and your faith certainly comes into play, but how do you physically maintain that amazing vocal tone on the road, in the studio, after all these years?
Well, man, my voice has changed a lot. I mean, if you go back and listen to my voice in 85, 86, 87, and then you listen to it now, it's very different. My range has come down. The tonality of my voice has changed. But I think because my voice was so high in the past, having come down a little bit now in the present is okay. And it works for me. I'm able to work around the changes of my voice. I'm still able to hit high notes and sing with the power that I need to sing with. But, I just choose my battles. I try to take care of myself, eat right, stay in shape. I'm not a smoker. I'm an occasional cigar smoker, and that's it. But, it blows my mind. Guys like Todd LaToya, he smokes cigarettes before he goes on and sings. And, and then he goes out and sings like a bird, and it just blows my mind. But I don't smoke. And I just try to take care of myself, and I try to sing with conviction as much as I can. There are no secrets really for me. I don't have a disciplined, structured format I stick to before every show. I just go out and I drink a throat coat, a tea, and go out and sing. I'm not sitting there warming up for 2 hours before the show. Maybe I should. I don't know.
I take it, Michael, that you have actually listened to this new Stryper album, The Final Battle. Have you heard that opening scream on Transgressor? Come on. And I'm listening to the thing several times this morning, prepping for the interview, and it's just one after the other. These amazing, piercing screams that we all wish we could still do, but you still are delivering the goods in a way that it's better than ever. So certainly proud of you, and applaud you for that.
Coming from you, man, that's really quite a compliment, because you're an amazing singer yourself. So that's incredible to hear you say. I do what I do, and I'm just thankful I can still do it to some degree. When I go in, something I've been doing lately in the studio is when I go in to sing a song, instead of singing through the song 3 or 4 times, which is usually how I do it, I'll sing 3 or 4 takes and then comp it.
Yeah.
You know, take what I like from each take and comp it together. And what happens, I found in the past, I would do that and spend an hour, hour and a half singing, and then when it came time to hit the high notes, my voice was a little tired. So I go in and I hit the high notes first, and I get those out of the way. And my voice is fresh, and I can get them done, and it's like 1 or 2 takes, and boom, there it is. It's done. Then I sing the song. Live, I choose my battles. I can't hit every high note live because I'm running around. But I try to pick those notes that people expect to hear, like the end of To Hell with the Devil, the end of Soldiers, the end of The Way. You know, certain notes I better hit, or there's going to be a mob chasing me down after the show, you know?
Wow. Great insight on the voice there. And we'll touch on that again before the interview's done. I'm speaking with Stryper frontman Michael Sweet, and the show must go on as you guys are on board the KISS cruise this week with such a huge body of work. How do you determine the song list? Are you including some of this new material? And does the list change from gig to gig?
That's a great question, man. And hard to answer sometimes, but we just go out. I put together the list usually. And, you know, these days we've been doing about 21 songs. So it's a good hour and, hour and 40, hour and 45 minute set. And we try to sneak in some new songs with all the classics. We got to do To Hell, Soldiers Calling, Free, honestly. There's certain songs you have to do. People expect us to do, but we also sneak in Yahweh and Divider and some of these new songs that are equally as good and as powerful. Now we have the new album. We got to try to fit some of those songs in. So that set list might grow a little bit. We might be doing 23 or 4 or 5 songs next time around. But yeah, it gets tricky. Because, you know, when you're 60 years old and you're doing 4 in a row and you got 3 a.m. lobby calls and you're trying to sing 25 songs in that register, that's hard, man. It gets tough.
I get it, man. I'm sure the fans and the audience on the KISS cruise will be pleasantly pleased and surprised. The website is Stryper.com. There's news there about a Kickstarter campaign for the Stryper documentary film. You've exceeded your goal and raised nearly $250,000 for that project. Congratulations. Where are you with that? And can we look forward to seeing the Stryper documentary next year on Netflix, Hulu, or some other major platforms?
Well, again, a great question and a valid one that needs to be answered. Basically, we did raise almost $250,000. It blew our minds. I think the goal was 100,000, 75 or 100,000, and we far surpassed that. And it just shows how many Stryper fans are out there who are willing to support what we're doing. We finally have a team put together. It took us a while. We wanted to, put together the right team, and we did. And we're going to start shooting that, hit the ground running full force next year. And we're going to be touring a lot, getting a lot of footage. We've already got a lot of footage from the past, from the history of the band, and from the past 3 or 4 years, more recent footage. And then we want to interview people whose lives have been altered because of the band, really powerful stories, 3 or 4 of those, and then connect the dots with that and the band history. We don't want it to just be live footage of the band and, the band began in 84 and blah, 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 and go through the years. That's all fine and well, but we want it to be something that's really powerful that has an effect on those watching, whoa, and a little more emotional and really dig deep to the hearts of everyone watching.
We're all looking forward to seeing that. During the pandemic, you and I both participated in another important documentary movie called Let the Music Play, also titled When the Band Stopped Playing, available on Amazon Prime and other platforms. I think that film and the new sequel, The Tipping Point, were very special projects that will provide a time capsule of the pandemic and its effects on our industry for years to come, and I was glad to be a part of that with you.
Oh, yeah, man, absolutely. And, when you look back on something like that, when you're part of a film like that, you look back on it and you just say, wow, what an honor, and that's something that'll live on forever. And we're a part of it. It's really amazing. I
agree, man. It's a time capsule for decades to come and highly recommended. Let the Music Play, also titled When the Bands Stopped Playing on Amazon Prime. Michael Sweet, on the streets of rock and roll with me. We have a lot of common ground, dude. You and I, our paths have converged often over the last few decades. So I want to climb into that time machine real quick. Go back to The Voice. In the 80s, there was a vocal coach in Southern California by the name of Elizabeth Sabine. Her students included Axl Rose, Jizzy Pearl, Michael Sweet, some guy named Ron Keel. Share with me, please, a fond memory of Sabine and the effect she had on you and your voice.
Well, it was interesting because before I took lessons from Elizabeth, I didn't really think much about lessons. But then I realized, maybe that will help me with my range. Maybe it'll help me with my stamina as a vocalist. And I met Elizabeth, and I started taking lessons, and I was always taken aback by not only her style and her technique and, how incredibly talented she was as a teacher, but as a person. She was so sweet, and loving, and the way she taught it, just mind blowing. And she'd come to the shows and watch you perform and support you, and I just felt like, wow. And she wasn't, necessarily young at that time. I mean, she was fairly older woman, and coming to these metal shows and with a big smile on her face, enjoying every moment. And it just always blew my mind how humble she was and what an incredible teacher she was.
She was amazing, man. I take her with me into every session, every show that I do. She is there with me. That training that she gave me has kept me going all these years. And I don't think it's a secret that guys like Axl Rose, Jizzy Pearl, Michael Sweet, and myself are still belting it out 30 plus years later after having learned her technique and spent that time with her.
No question about it, man. She was the best. And not to, downplay or downsize anyone else out there it's a vocal coach. But I really think she was the best, especially for this style of vocals. She had that belt trick she did, and really helped with power.
The belt. I still teach that to my students these days. The belt, man, it's critical. We'll
and that would teach you to not let all your air out of your lungs so you could hold a note.
Absolutely, man. I love that common ground that we have, and we have Common Ground Part 2, April 7th, 1984, Perkins Palace, Pasadena, California, the first Keel show ever, and opening up a new band called Stryper. It's still my claim to fame. Stryper opened up for us at our first show. Any memories of that night? Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, unbelievable. So amazing. Now, your player was, who was your guitar player at that time?
That night, it was Mark Ferrari and David Hensarling, who went on to play with King Cobra.
Yes, and we remember seeing you when you had Yngwie. It was crazy, man. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Just phenomenal. But those were the days, and there's so much history. And, I feel like our paths crossed and everything worked out for a reason. And here we are still to this day talking and inspiring one another. And it's so cool, man.
That's right, man. It is cool. I still have on my bulletin board a Stryper business card from Oz Fox. And it was a sticker. I never peeled the back off the sticker, but it was a sticker business card. And it says Ozzy Fox, Ozzie. And it says Ozzy Fox, has his phone number on it at the time. I got it that night. It's still there. And I looked at that during his adversity when he was going through surgeries and medical treatments, and I looked at it and I thought about him and I prayed and I just sent my good vibes to him. We actually auctioned off the Right to Rock album art, the original album art, to contribute to his fund or his medical expenses. And I love that guy so much, and I'm just so happy that he and you and the rest of the band are doing great. Now, one more common ground before we go. We have a mutual friend by the name of Roy Cathy, a great singer whose band, The Fifth, opened up for Stryper a few months ago. I think it was North Carolina, something like that. And Roy, Roy Cathy and The Fifth will be on board with you this week on the Kiss Cruise as well. All right, you guys are on the cruise, on the Kiss Cruise coming up starting October 24th. With my boys, Roy Cathy and The Fifth. I've signed him and his band to my label, RFK Media, for a new album release this next year. And It'd mean a lot to me and my audience if you could comment on that guy, that voice in that band, if you have anything to offer.
Oh, well, dude, he's one of those guys as a vocalist and just his talent where you don't see that often. I always feel like those days are gone, you know, in terms of just that style. And then you hear a guy like him and you go, okay, whoa, it's not gone. Wow. And, you know, I know he's been around for a while. But what a singer, what a band, and we're super excited to be playing with him. Maybe I'll get to hang out with him, get to know him a little bit.
I sure hope so. My partner in RFK Media, Aaron Fisher, will be there. We appreciate the support because I believe in that band and that singer in a big way because we signed him to our label. I'm excited that you guys will be able to share that experience together. Michael Sweet, going above and beyond the call of duty, as always, as we enjoy the new Stryper album, The Final Battle, now available everywhere from Frontiers Records. The website is stryper.com. Also, a really cool site. Visit michaelsweet.com. All the social media links can be found there as well. Michael, thanks so much for your time, for the great music through the years, and your friendship. Enjoy the journey, my friend, and give the guys in the band my love. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, brother. Love you, man. Thanks for always waving that Stryper flag and supporting us, man. It means the world.
Always. Michael Sweet.